Hello everyone. Today I have a kind of a different video than what I posted previously, but I have two sets of headphones that I'm going to be comparing. Sorry for the lighting. I'm still a little new to this, but hopefully it's not too bad in the video. But the two headphones I have here today are the Bowers& Wilkins PX7 S3s, and then I'll also have the Focal Bathys, I think is how you pronounce it. And here I just have the Q-Style Pro dongle that allows higher codecs on the iPhone, which I use to listen to all my music. So what inspired me today was that I originally bought these PX7 S3s. I got a little bit of a sale on it. I think I got it for like 360 or so. And when I first listened to it, like it was really I was impressed, but it still left a little bit to be desired in terms of the music that I usually listen to. So I am a huge watcher of and supporter of Flossie Carter. I think he has amazing videos and he really knows his audio stuff and I like totally trust his opinion. Um so when I asked him on a comment recently, I said, "Hey Floss, I have the PX7 S3s, but my issue was that the vocals sounded a little like pushed behind and I wanted something a little crisper in terms of vocals." And so he recommended these Focal Bathys to give a try. So I thought, why not? Because it's the holiday season. These were on Friday sale for, I believe, like 470 or so. And because of Amazon's return policy for the holidays, I'm able to return it until January. So I figured I might as well just cop a pair of these just so I know if I'm not missing out on anything. And so today's video is going to be mostly focused on sound quality and usability and comfort. I'm not going to go too in depth inside of like the apps and everything. I know Focal's app when I first downloaded it was kind of giving me some issues, but it seems like it's fine now after that. And I do like Bowers& Wilkins app, but they only have a 5-band EQ, which is, well, 10-band would be better, but it's fine for what it is. It still gets the job done for the most part. So I have on my Thor a song list. I'm showing it on my Thor because my iPhone's used to record this video. But here's a few of the songs that I've directly made a playlist and tested, like listing back to back these using the Q style uh, for the aptX uh, lossless codecs or adaptive, which can reach up to lossless, I believe. So I've also tried the DAC mode on these with the USB-C, and then I've also tried USB-C on these and listening to most of these songs. A few I just added recently and just tested these out. But for the most part, my opinion is going to be mostly on Bluetooth mode because that's the mode that everyone will mostly be using these. Otherwise, what's the point of getting like Bluetooth headphones for the most part? So these are all on AAC codec right now. And for the past few listening sessions, I've had it on AAC as well. So I wanted to talk firstly about the Bowers and Wilkins S7. Let's see. So I have a bit of a mix of metalcore, and some hip hop rap. So for the S7s, I think the sound signature. Oh, just to clarify, I'm not an audiophile, but I do like listening to music, good resolution and everything. So that's why I'm trying to look for a pair of headphones that I can comfortably spend my money on and feel like I'm not totally missing out on everything, especially with these Black Friday sales. You know, some of these are at a good deal. And there's others that I'm not covering here today. It's just going to be these two. But for the most part, so when I first put on the S7s, I thought that the guitar and the drums in the song are phenomenal. Like the low end is crazy. I don't know any audiophile terms or anything, but I'm just gonna kind of describe how I thought as I first listened to these. So I thought guitars and drums are insane, incredible. The clarity is like unmatched. Like I haven't really heard anything like it in my limited tests of headphones and things like that. So one of the songs I put on was After Dark by I See Stars. And immediately what stood out about that song was just like the warm sound signature of the S7 PX3s. I mean PX7 S3, sorry. Just the warmness, like it feels the songs sound really whole and full, is a way I can describe it sounding to me. So when I tried the focal Bathys, instantly what stood out was the soundstage. You know, people are not lying when they say on their other reviews on YouTube or Amazon, but the soundstage on these are incredible. Like you can really pinpoint exactly where each instrument is as you listen, as it wraps around your ears. Like you can pinpoint anything, like the sound effects, just everything they wanted you to hear on the recording of the song is there. It's present, it's clear, it's super crisp. Like this is like McDonald's Sprite levels of crisp. You know, it's not, and it's not to hit on these ones, but you know, this is like McDonald's Sprite, and this is kind of like McDonald's Coke. Like this is like super bubbly and crisp and refreshing. And then, you know, this has like the hint of sugar and that kind of like dark soda taste with like the low end. You know, that's an awful comparison, but you know, that's what I thought of. So when I was listening to, with these, the thing that stood out was also the guitars on a track. Like the guitars sound phenomenal on those as well too. You're really not missing out on anything. Um, like everything is so crisp and clear. The only thing that I have about those as a negative that really affects like my listening experience, I would say would be the sub bass. Like I've tried EQing these to about both where I like these I had to tune down the bass a bit. This one I had to increase it to get it where I like it. And then the high end frequencies I pretty much max those out. Mid range is I keep it pretty low, just like at a one or so. Mid range isn't as important to me. I feel as though as like the high end and low ends. That's how I tend to enjoy music and how I EQ it. But the sub bass on these are insane, incredible. Like you could really feel the punch of every single song. And you know, originally I thought I wanted more vocal clarity and crispness and you know just like guitar sound good and full and bright, but after giving like these are trying comparing it to these, like when I listen to these it just feels like something's like missing, like like it's missing one ingredient that these have that makes me like really enjoy the music as I listen to these more, even though the vocals are a little bit pushed back. I mean, when I listen to these just today, even I didn't really find it to be as much of a problem. I wonder if maybe that gets better over time. But like as I was comparing these, I was like, you know, the vocals are actually about equal in terms of clarity and things like that. So it wasn't really lacking on these as much as I initially thought when I put these on. But the when the sub bass hits on these, like I didn't even realize I really liked having a lot of bass when I listened to like metal. Like the way that the drums hit, like you can feel like the power behind it. You know, obviously it's tuned to have more bloated bass on these ones as compared to these, but even when I up it to how I like hearing the music, like it still doesn't really compare in terms of just specifically the low end sub bass. It's kind of like listening to when you buy like a really high end sound bar, but you don't have the subwoofer. So it's like you're getting that crisp, clear detail. All the vocals and everything sounds amazing, but you're just kind of missing that like oomph, like that little bit of punch that these have. So going back to my song list, where it kinda takes a turn is when you listen to tracks like, Neurotica by Polyphia. You know, Polyphia is a very, like, math rock, like or, math metal, I wanna say, kind of band where they really layer every single, like, instrument, sound effect, and, like, bunch of technicalities. You know, I'm not a musician, so I don't know all the terms and everything, but like it's an insanely layered track that you can really hear all of the detail on these. And the thing is, like, it's still present here too, but these really like bring forth those extra background instrumentals. Like, there's nothing lost when you listen to these at all. I mean, I wouldn't say it's lost here too, but it can kind of be like if you have the bass tuned up, you have the high range going on, can kind of get pushed more to the background because these have a slightly narrower sound stage, and these are so like open and full or open and just a bigger sound stage that you can pinpoint every single thing as it hits on the track. I want to say these both of them keep up really well with like the speeded tracks, like and the layers as well. But at the end of the day, like I still think these ones just hit on a different level than these do. I think if you're an audiophile, you will probably prefer these ones depending on kind of the tracks you're listening to. But layered tracks like Neurotica and as well as have another track by Dance Gavin Dance, like they have a lot of layers on top of their tracks. But just comparing that, these ones can kind of take the cake on those. But these ones do such a good job of giving you like the meat of the song, like the vocals mixed with the guitars, mixed with the drums. And then for hip hop and rap, I wouldn't even say it compares really. Like if you like listening um to hip hop and rap, like the bass on these just completely destroy these, even with EQ. But, the vocals and everything still sounds clear. It's not that the bass sucks on these. Like, the bass is pretty good, like that punchy bass, but it just really lacks on the sub bass. If sub bass really matters to you, then you will not like these at all. Um, some of the tracks I tried it on was Blue Laces 2 by Nipsey, shout out Floss, and then Bands by Shoreline Mafia. I think those were good tracks to kind of test these out with. And then the last 2 tracks I just added and just tested out recently, was "Worthy" by The Home Team and "Today I Saw the Whole World" by Pierce the Veil, because those are "Worthy" is a pretty layered track too. It's not as much as, like, Dance Gavin Dance or especially Polyphia, but it kinda was a good way to showcase just the technicalities of what these headphones can reach. Listening to like Pierce the Veil, like when that low end hits the drums and everything, like these are like kind of like being at a concert. And this kind of feels like being in the studio with the band, if that makes sense. Like where you can hear um, everything so crisp and clear. It feels like a really nice high res recording. I have all my music downloaded on or streaming on with the high res codec on Wi-Fi, and then I was trying out with the dongle, and then I was trying out the USB-C cable, which it does help with like the crispness of the tracks. Like it really helps bridge the gap with this in terms of like background instrumentals and everything. But overall, like if I have to choose just one, like I would easily go with the EX7 S3s, just from the way I listen to music. I didn't even really know that I liked that much sub bass before I started like kind of digging in, doing these like side by side tests as I did with these two headphones. But now I kind of learned more about how I like more of a consumer grade sound, I would say, versus an audiophile sound, which these excel at. But like again, this just feels like being at a concert, like in the front row with the bass booming, and you're like getting them dancing and everything. And then this is just like listening to like every single technicality on the track. Like this is like beautiful and rich and very clean and crisp and clear. Not that these aren't, but that's what this excels at. But for me, I would much prefer having that like sort of concert experience with that crisp, clear vocals too added in there. There are some times where some of the like background instruments or the little sound effects can kind of get pushed to the back a little bit, depending on how I have like the bass turned up. But overall, it feels like a much better listening experience to me. And just quickly, this video is mostly about the sound quality, but just quickly about the ANC compared to these, like these take the cake, like no question. The ANC on this is really bad. It's pretty bad, I'd say, if you're testing it without having music on. Um, these totally kill those. I didn't really test out the transparency mode, so I'm not going to talk about that. But in terms of comfort, these will like literally hurt my head just wearing it for like 20 minutes. So, that was another factor of why I'm gonna end up returning these. Just the clamp pressure, and it's just not as comfortable, and my ears get way more sweaty in these as well compared to this one. Like I can fall asleep listening to these. I can kind of lay on my side listening to these, and I don't feel any extra pressure or discomfort nearly as much as I wear these just regularly. So I would absolutely not take these out with me like on a long walk or anything. Or I'm not going to use either for the gym, but if I did, like these would be just awful. I would be sweating out of my ears like crazy, and it would be super uncomfortable. But today was more about sound quality and everything. So if that doesn't really bother you, and you like a more audiophile sound, I would probably give these a try. I always recommend just buying, or just like my friends and stuff, just to buy it from Amazon, test it out, and then, if you don't like it, you can always return it. But as of now, I'm going to be sticking with the PX7 S3s. I would be interested to try out the new PX8 S2s. The only thing is the price difference. Like these, I got like these for like 360 or something like that. And the S2s are like 799. Cheapest I've seen it, I think today it was like a pre-owned, fulfilled by Amazon though, but it was like $630 or so. I don't think it was pre-owned. I think it was just the outside box was a little damaged or so, but still. I would be interested to see what the differences are because I heard the soundstage on those is even better, as well as the vocal clarity and everything. But for 350, normally I think they're like 450 or so. I would be perfectly happy with these. I think they're very comfortable, nice, solid build headphones, and you've already heard about how I feel about the sound quality. So I'm going to be keeping these and unfortunately returning these, but I'm glad I was able to test it out. So I'm not always wondering like is the sound quality on those so much more important to me than these? But kind of doing this test, I discovered I like the consumer sound more. Even when it comes to metal, um, I thought I would prefer more vocal clarity. Even though I would say these are about equal, unless you're like DAC mode on this or so. But I mean, this one you can also just plug in a wire, and it sounds about just as good in terms of clarity and everything. But that about wraps up my video today. Let me know how you think. Sound is totally subjective, and these are just my subjective thoughts about these. So let me know and leave a comment and subscribe, and let me know what other kind of videos you guys want. I think in the future, I'm going to be talking about more handhelds, and I just got a recent one that I'm pairing with my Thor that I might make a video about. So, yeah, take care, everyone, and have a good night.